What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. You know, the Lakers situation seems to get more peculiar as time goes on. I definitely think LeBron James hates the Lakers front office. I definitely think he's mad at Rob Pelinka. I definitely think he hates Rob Pelinka. I definitely think he's just over the whole Lakers situation. And when you think about that in its entirety, it definitely puts a stain on the Lakers as a team because they're trying to win championships. They're trying to continuously win. They're trying to be a dominant team. They're trying to win as they always used to. But at the same time, it just doesn't seem like it's fitting for it to happen. Too many issues going around in the locker room, in the organization, within the organization, and it's just really distracting them from doing what they have to do on the court. Now, hopefully, for Lakers fans that they can come out and play the way they have been, hope they can come out and play the way they should rather than the way they have been, which can help them win games. But it doesn't make much difference if there's going to be tension in the locker room or any distance in the locker room or within the organization. They're bad on defense. Anthony Davis is not there. And when Anthony Davis was there, he wasn't playing like a top 5 player anyway. And then on top of that, LeBron James is aging right before our very eyes, even though he's still putting up great, massive numbers. But they're not equating to winning, so it really doesn't matter. So now you have reports coming out about, Rob Pelinka and, LeBron James definitely not being on the same page. Rob Pelinka coming out saying that Anthony Davis and LeBron James were okay with the fact that no trades were made. And then there was a very big pushback on that very quickly after that. And then more reports come out now that there's even more tension between LeBron and the front office of the Lakers in regards to how everything has been going and how the season has panned out. The main thing, though, people have to look at, LeBron chose Westbrook. He did. It's no other way around it. He could have, said no to Russell Westbrook, but he chose for Russell Westbrook to come there. He was a big part of the reason why Russell Westbrook came there. Of course, it's not all 100% LeBron, but I would say it's 80% or better because LeBron James definitely, has that type of, clout. He definitely has that type of aura where he can make decisions for a team and teams listen to him because, he is LeBron James. But when you look at the situation, LeBron just made a mistake. You picked the wrong guy, and I'm not sure if LeBron can actually still make this work, even though he's going to try, even though he's going to do his best to make everything unfold the way he wants it to in regards to the Lakers winning a championship. But it's going to be really hard because Russell Westbrook doesn't make your defense any better, and neither does anybody on the bench. They have a bunch of old players, and he's old himself. And the young player that they do have that they wish to be dominant, and Anthony Davis, is just way too injury prone to dominate because he's not available. And I think that's one of the worst things that can happen to the Lakers because them winning that championship in the bubble looks even more suspect to a lot of people now because of the 4-month layoff and how it benefited LeBron. Then everything that happened for them to just, everything happened in regards to them winning a championship. It just really, really, made it easier for them in a lot of people's eyes. I personally think, when you win, no matter how you win, you got a championship. That's the way I look at it personally, but others are going to push back on that now based upon what they've seen. Anthony Davis hasn't been great, really dominant since 2 years ago in the bubble, and he hasn't been the player they thought he would be. They're talking about trading him possibly in the offseason. They're looking into other players as well. One big name that came up was Karl Anthony Towns. So, that would be a huge swap if they're able to do that, if it actually becomes possible or reality. And then LeBron James, you have the question of whether he's staying or going. And when you look at the way the situation is now, the tension between him and the front office, it's almost no reason for him to stay, with the Lakers if he's going to be unhappy. And like I said, unless the Lakers make some big move this year or this offseason or something like that, I really don't see what they can do to make a splash like that. But you never know. The Lakers have been known to pull off some good trades throughout the years simply because, they have a lot of assets and things like that. But at the same time, Rob Pelinka really just isn't the guy. I thought the Lakers years ago, Their management wasn't always the greatest, but it was a lot better than what it is now. I think Jerry West was there back then, and you had Magic Johnson hanging around there too. So now it's like you don't have those voices and those leaders there, and you got a guy there in Rob Pelinka who I think really doesn't know much about basketball himself and recruiting, and I just don't trust him myself personally. Just listen to his interviews and seeing what type of guy he is. He just looks like a snake behind the weeds. You know what I'm saying? He looks like a snake in the grass, and I just don't think that, he's somebody that could be trusted, in which that's a big thing that's coming out now about LeBron. LeBron saying that he can't trust the office and trust what they do. And LeBron is the type of player that he likes to be able to trust the office and the team that's around him in order for him to work well and for them to, work well back with LeBron. And when you look at this situation, it just looks like Hollywood drama is just unfolding even more and more. And I really hope that there is peace between, both parties, but it just doesn't look like it's going to be, and this is a really bad situation for Lakers Nation, because even though whether you might be a Lakers fan or not, you're just not used to them losing. You're just not used to them being a ninth seed or, a team like that. They had down seasons, of course, don't get me wrong, but this looks like the worst down season they've ever had, because it just looks like there's nowhere to turn. You got three superstars on a team, and your record is that you're in the ninth seed. That just doesn't make any sense. Back in the day with Kobe Bryant, if he had three superstars or two other superstars, including himself, no matter what tension was going on in the locker room, I still think they would be a better team than the ninth seed. That's just my opinion. Kobe just wouldn't allow that to happen, especially not with two other superstars who are at least one of them is in their prime. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough, and now you can sit there and say about, Kobe and when he had Dwight Howard and Steve Nash, but Steve Nash was completely out of his prime, and Dwight Howard really just, I don't know, he was close out of his prime as well to me. But it's just, when you look at it from a standpoint of you have three superstars now, one who still can average a triple-double in Russell Westbrook. Anthony Davis, any given night, he can give you 26 and 15, and LeBron James is still playing at a very, very high level that he's playing at. And really the West is wide open when you think about it, because there's either teams that's missing major pieces like the Clippers, the Warriors. The Clippers are missing Kawhi and PG. The Warriors are missing Draymond Green. And the Phoenix Suns, now they're missing Chris Paul for a significant amount of time. The West is just really wide open. So when you look at that, it's like, man, the Lakers, they would really have an opportunity to do something if they were actually at least a fairly decent team. But they're not. They just can't play together, and their defense is horrible, and their defense is not going to get any better. So it doesn't matter how much offense they obtain. If their defense doesn't get better, they're just going to lose. And that's just exactly what they've been doing. They'll string together a win or two here and there, but a win or two here and there is not really saying much. It has to be consistency, and that's what LeBron is thinking about. That's what LeBron is implementing. We're not consistently good. You didn't make any trades in the trade deadline, in which I thought we would, and that's LeBron's notion, and that's what he's sticking with. And I really can't blame him, because you've seen the product out there on the floor for the last several months, and everybody in the world can see with 2020. You don't need 2020 vision to see that they don't really fit together. Whether LeBron plays well with AD, but AD is not there half the time. But then when you add Russell Westbrook, you don't want to leave him out, because he is a superstar caliber player, and you don't want to have that disgruntledness in the locker room, in which you already have now, because there's been several games where Russ had to sit out in fourth quarters, and he really didn't like it. So it's like, it's a lot of tension in LA right now with the Lakers, and it just doesn't really seem like it's getting any better. So I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron James doesn't exit the building this offseason and go back to Cleveland or something like that, and maybe wait on Bronny. It really wouldn't surprise me. I'm not saying it would happen or it's going to happen, but it really wouldn't surprise me if it does, because I just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel with this team, because I don't see Anthony Davis getting any healthier going forward. He's just not the dominant player a lot of people thought he could be. They gave him top 5 caliber player in the bubble, this and that, but that's one situation. That's in a bubble. That's 4 months off in a situation where nobody nobody wanted to play. I mean, people seem to forget no team wanted to play in the bubble besides the Lakers. The Lakers wanted to play because LeBron had his guys encouraged to play because he knew he had a mental advantage, and no other team wanted to be there. So that's Anthony Davis dominating in a little circumference in the bubble, and he hasn't been dominant since. So then you have LeBron James aging, and then Russell Westbrook is just the misfit in the situation who don't fit along with what they're trying to do. So when you look at that in its totality, what do the Lakers have? They really don't have anything. They might have a play-in playoff team in the making, or a playoff team at best, maybe first round. I'm not sure, but I just don't think it'll go too much beyond that. But like I said, right now, there's so much tension with the Lakers. I wouldn't be surprised if they even missed the playoffs. I really wouldn't, because, I mean, I just don't see, where they're going to build something from or any confidence from. But, of course, LeBron being LeBron, he's going to go out there and give everything he's got. But as we see so far, everything he got just isn't good enough. And we'll just have to see how it goes going forward. And, of course, he's also nursing, I think, a knee and an ankle injury as well still. So we'll see how that is. But right now, the Lakers are in trouble. They're in a bad state, and it doesn't look like they're getting any better no time soon. So we'll just have to see how it pans out and see how the rest of their season, pans out for them, if they make the playoffs or not. But, hey, that's my take on everything. You leave any comments in the comment section as always. And, hey, Khaliis out.